What's up, guys? Brady here, coming at you with a review of the new Black Veil Brides album, Vindicate, released about a week and a half ago now, Friday, May 8th. You know, in some cases, when I take longer than a week to put out a review, it's because I have to listen to it several times to really form my thoughts on it. This is not one of those albums. This is one that was a combination of maybe just procrastination as to why the review took almost 2 weeks, but also just, my overarching consensus about the record prevented me from wanting to listen to it further. To any fans of Black Veil Brides, before you get mad at me for this review, I promise I gave it a honest chance. The band was saying that this was going to be their heaviest album yet, which is always something, you could be a little skeptical about, but I will give them one thing. I do think this probably is their heaviest album yet. But here's the issue. On this record, I don't feel any kind of actual inspiration as far as these heavy parts. Rather, it feels like the band is attempting to use it as a novelty to try and get a second win. Because especially when it comes to hard rock and modern metal and metalcore, going heavier is the trendy direction right now. Even just last year, I reviewed multiple albums by bands that play a similar style to Black Veil Brides, such as, I Prevail or Pop Evil, that said, hey, we're going to put out our heaviest album this year. And they did. The problem with that and the problem with this record is the band isn't willing to really leap into that heavier sound. The result is tracks like the title track and Revenger and Ave Maria that have some heavy parts, don't get me wrong. But these songs still end up being very, very chorus-centered, and it's clear that their main goal is to still get radio play. That's what I mean when I say that the heaviness is used more as a novelty, not as actual seeds for these songs to sprout from. Rather, it's like they're taking that same tireless radio octane core structure and just throwing some slightly heavier parts in for the verses or breakdowns. The track Ave Maria is a great instance of this because this song is actually really frustrating to me. Not because I think it's terrible, but because the band actually displays some potential with that thrashy main riff, and then that transition into some actually pretty blatantly death metal inspired tremolo parts and some blast beats. The song has some really cool moments in it. And on this one, even the chorus itself does a decent job of keeping the momentum forward, which is something other choruses on here totally fail at. But you know what does it with this song? You know what pisses me off with this song and several other tracks on this record? The fucking whoa-whoa vocals. Easily the worst aspect of this record. The whoa-whoa vocals are all over this thing. Just tell me you didn't have any actual ideas without telling me you didn't have any actual ideas. The band just beats you to death with them on this record, and oftentimes they completely ruin the song, as is the case with this track. It's a shame because I feel like if instead of the whoa-ohs, they put some kind of different instrumental section or even just more actual lyrics, then this song would be fully enjoyable to me all the way through. And I still probably think this is the best track on the record. But the way the band uses these whoa vocals on this track and on the whole record is just lazy. It's nothing more than a cheap way to try and make your song sound more anthemic when it's not anthemic enough. The track Hallelujah is another song that has some good ideas and at least some respectable attempts at being heavy. The song has more of a deathcore feel to me in its heavy part. And it's not even just the whoa-whoa vocals on this track. I mean, you get past those heavy parts and it's more just fucking buttcore. The heavy parts just keep getting neutered over and over again by these unnecessary melodic parts that, again, it shows the band's true intentions, that they're not actually inspired to make a heavy album. The chorus of the song, too, it's a little bit boring, and also lyrically, I find the track a bit repetitive. Alive, that's another track that shows some potential with those dissonant melodies right away. But again, the clean chorus comes in and just totally derails the momentum of it. And the song just feels disjointed. It actually does a decent job of building up some energy in the intro and the verses. And then this big, dumb, sugary chorus comes in out of nowhere and totally disrupts the mood of the song. And just to be clear, for anybody watching that isn't already a follower of mine or who has seen my reviews, I have no problem with, this heavy melodic bounce. I mean, my favorite metal band period is Kill Switch Engage. It's the transitions and how the band incorporates them. It's very easy for a band to just kind of throw parts on and have your big chorus and then have, music around that's supposed to be heavy, but it just makes the song sound so robotic if those parts aren't actually cohesively and competently written together as part of one song. It's like the band are just saying, okay, here's where we put this. Here's where we put this, because this is how we have to build our song. It's like the song is being forced into a specific mold rather than being created organically. So, okay, at this point in the review, I should clarify that the songs that I have singled out so far are this album's brightest moments. As far as other tracks, the title track has some cool moments instrumentally, I guess. And the closer, Eschaton, I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced, has some good vocal parts at least. And even though it's so short, it's like the one song on the record that kind of splits things up structure-wise. Unironically, I kind of enjoyed the intro track on her, Invocation to the Muse, although I do wish that like spooky sounding organ intro was chopped off and it was just the spoken word. I actually thought that was kind of a creative idea because it at least like sets up the record a little bit, like because you kind of listen to that and then you know the themes of the record already, so it's easier to kind of listen to. Aside from that, this album is a fucking train wreck. I'm sorry, there's just nothing on this record that jumps out to me as particularly nuanced or inspired. The band spends a lot of time on here just trying so hard to come off dramatic and climactic, and they just fail at it over and over. Like track 4, Bleeders, is a brutal low point on here that pretty much encompasses all of my criticisms of this record on one song. Everything about this fucking track. I mean, the vocals in the intro are just way too overly angsty. You got the whoa-whoa vocals. You got that genty breakdown that's been done 100 times better by 100 different bands. The refrains are super weak. The lyrics are repetitive. The track Sorrow, that's another one that just has several instances of things I can't stand about this record. Another thing this record actually leans on a lot, almost just as bad as the Whoa-Ohs, is the band adding in these layers of like crowd vocals and group vocals onto the choruses just to make them sound bigger, I guess. And again, very similar to the Whoa-Ohs. It just comes off cheap. It comes off lazy. Woe and Pain is fucking awful. I mean, it's got the worst Whoa vocals on the entire record. This is the house of woe and pain. One of the worst choruses, those stupid octane electronic verses that have been done 5,000 times. The song Cut is like this modern butt rock ballad attempt, and it just does not hit. It tries way too hard to be dramatic and to be emotional, but just nothing hits with this track. It comes off so robotic. Sleeping, losing time, but I know it's gonna be alright. The vocals on this song, especially the intro, are super whiny. The instrumental parts are not interesting at all, and then again, just for good measure, the band throws those crowd vocals on for the outro of the song. Of course, you have the mid-album interludes, which, I mean, I don't even know if I need to say anything about those. They're so fucking pointless. You got the overture track, which is the 4th overture track the band has done among several records now. And then later you got the track Grace. I mean, these songs just, they don't do anything. They take up space on the track list, and that's it. In the track Revenger, I actually like Rob Flynn's vocal appearance on here. I think he sounds pretty good. The rest of the track has nothing to offer for me. I mean, maybe some glimpses at some potential with the heaviness again, but you got the fucking whoa vocals in the chorus. Once again, they come off like such an embellishment. They're only there to try and help out the song because the melodies themselves don't stand on their own. Of course, there's the lead single Certainty, which was, this is the only single that I checked out in preparation for the album, and I hated it instantly. I mean, again, everything about this song. You got the cheesy spoken word call out that leads into just a sad excuse for a guitar riff. 17. The chorus is super sluggish, and it's such a watered down, undercooked metalcore attempt. And as far as any overarching notes on the record, I fucking hate the production. Everything sounds overproduced to shit. I think maybe the most frustrating part on this record would actually be frontman Andy Biersack's screamed vocals. They just sound way too overproduced. Hallelujah, Alive, Revenger, all tracks where that really jumps out at me. Of course, there's the nauseatingly digitized guitar tone on here that just kills any momentum that these riffs had. That super generic main riff on the track Sorrow is a great instance of that. I actually like Andy Biersack's voice, especially his clean vocals, but I don't think he does enough interesting stuff on this record vocally to make, any of this stuff re-listenable. I think maybe some more interesting vocal melodies, or if he was more dynamic in his range, would have spiced some things up on here. But there's just not quite enough of that. If you're a fan of this band, you'll probably like this record. But for me, it comes off really disingenuous, really robotic, and it comes off again like the band is using this heaviest album yet thing to kind of draw attention to the record, as opposed to actually taking inspiration from heavy music. Like I said, I think the heaviness is used more of as a marketing tactic to lure listeners in, so they can just do the same shit over and over that they've been doing. If you're someone who likes, actual extreme metal and actual nuance in metalcore, then you're probably gonna fucking hate this record, just like me. This album gets a score of 3 out of 30 for me. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to hit the subscribe button for more rock and metal-related content and album reviews, as well as comment below your thoughts on this record, especially if you're a fan. If you're a fan of this band, defend this record, and I'm very curious to hear if you have any contentions to any of the points that I've made. That's why I do these reviews. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.